I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And you know, in the Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme kitchen, we work hard, we love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. Tonight in the kitchen, we are going to prepare some pork with fennel and blood oranges. Now, I don't know if you've worked with blood oranges before, but blood oranges look very different from the typical orange that you eat. And they have great variety from one blood orange to the next. And their flavor is very different. And this is the season from about December to April-ish, May-ish. That's the time when you're going to find blood oranges, and that's when they come into their best flavor. So we're going to be working with those tonight. So if you're interested in what we're going to do with our pork and blood oranges and fennel, stay tuned. I am so happy to have you right here in my kitchen. And for those of you who are family, I'm so glad you're back. And for those who are new subscribers particularly, thank you very much for joining our family. I hope that you will have such a good time. We do all kinds of things here in the kitchen. I love to cook, I love to create decor, and certainly I love to chit chat. So we are going to be doing a little bit of all of that right here in this kitchen. Now, let's get down to some serious cooking. I've turned you down because I want you to see what we're going to be doing. First of all, if you remember, we have already marinated our pork chops. We did that earlier in the day, and they've been sitting in the refrigerator, and so they are ready. So I'm just taking them out because this meal is going to come together in about 30 minutes. Once you have everything done, 30 minutes, that's all you need. So we have our pork chops right here ready to go. We also sliced up our blood oranges, and remember I said there's a lot of variety from one blood orange to the other. Some are very, very red, and some are light with just touches and hints of red around them, so that you will know the difference between these from a regular orange. So we're good to go with that. Now what we need to do is to take care of the fennel. And I don't know how many of you cook with fennel or have cooked with fennel, but fennel is somewhere between an onion taste and a little licorice taste. But we only need 2 bulbs of fennel. This is what fennel looks like. Kind of an odd looking vegetable. But we're going to get it cleaned up, and we're going to get it cut up. And we're going to cut it into little wedges. So let me turn around here. I'm going to get these rinsed off, and then I'll turn back around so you can see what needs to be done to it. Now, so how are things going for you in the kitchen? Are you enjoying every evening? If you're like our crew, you're probably thinking, oh, please, can you help us find something else to do? All right, so there's our fennel. I'm going to get some paper towel to dry my hands. I have a bowl I'm going to drop them into once we're finished. So that's what that is all about. I think I'll take this paper towel and just kind of dry them off a little bit, and then we'll start to work. I've got my knife. I'm going to take this end off, and we'll put them over there so they can go into the recycle bin. And I'm going to slice here because we are going to want to rinse in between. It's kind of like when you're working with leeks. Once you open them up, see inside of them, you need to rinse inside of there. So I'm going to run cold water over those. So I'm going to take the end off again on this one, and then, and it smells just like licorice candy. All right, let me turn this around and get it rinsed. Okay. Just in case there might be any sand that's gotten down into the fennel, you want to make sure that you rinse and clean that up. Okay, so that part is done. Now, what I'm first going to do is that I'm going to take some of the fronds off. And in fact, for the moment, I'm just going to work with the lower portion of it. And I'm going to cut these into little wedges. So I'm going to say 1, 2, I think I'm going to leave them there, just about that size. Cut there, slice down there. Now certainly I can make these a little smaller. If you want to make them tinier, you can do that. And cut them one more time so that you have little smaller wedges. And I'm going to bring these back, and I think I will cut one more time. So they're about a 1/2 inch. See those little wedges? There we go. Did I get everybody? Nope. Got 2 more. Let's cut. And clean up the outside. What I like to do, I just peel that first one off. Compost that. One's down the middle, and then we've made 4 pieces. Got one more half. Some little fennel fronds. And we'll do this one by himself. Okay, so that part's finished. And I'm actually going to take the little fronds off, and I'm going to save these. And I think I'll rinse those off real good. I can actually use those. And I don't have to necessarily use them in the dish tonight, but I can hold those for when I'm doing soups or some other recipe that calls for fennel. So I'm just going to clean those up and get all that done. Those there. Okay, let's get all this cleaned up. And we're good to go. So I'm going to set these over there, and everything else is going to go into the recycle. Now, I have in this bowl, I have the fennel. I'm also going to add in the blood oranges because, and I can see now I'm going to need a larger bowl for this because we need to mix them. It's a little deeper. I'm just going to spread them out. All right, now in this bowl, let's set all of this over here. In this bowl, we need some oil, and I'm using grapeseed oil. You can use EVOO. I have grapeseed, so that's why I'm using these, and we're going to roast these. Now, I'm going to sprinkle in some of the same seasonings, in fact, all of the same seasonings that we put into the marinade. So we have some house seasoning. We have cinnamon, as the kids say. We have paprika. And we have some black pepper. Now this recipe also calls for green olives, but you don't put those on until the very end. They do not roast with these vegetables. Now I have some potatoes that I'm also going to use, but I am not going to put them in. I'm going to give them a head start before we start these fruit and vegetables, because I want them to cook, make sure they're good and well cooked, and then we'll just sit these right off to the side. So let me wash my hands, and I'm going to get those potatoes onto the pan. All right, I'm going to add potatoes to this, and I'm going to cut these potatoes into wedges, and I'm going to start down the middle, and I'm going to leave them. I'm going to try to make them about the same size as the other vegetables. So adding those in, and I'm putting them in a separate bowl because I'm going to start the cooking process in the microwave. So they're going to be in little wedges like the fennel. Okay. Now, so I'm going to put cold water over this, and I'm going to microwave them for about 7 minutes. 7 minutes. I'm going to rinse them, and then cover them with water. So there they are. They're covered with water. 7 minutes to start the cooking process. And I may end up going actually to 10, but we're going to put these in the microwave. All right, I don't want them to cook up. I just want them to cook until they're starting to get a little soft, because they're going to cook in the oven. So let's get our pan ready that we're going to prepare these in. I need a 9x12, or you can use a cookie sheet, but I'm going to use my 9x12. I'm going to put a little bit of oil down in the bottom. And I'm just going to get those ready. And then I'm going to put these in. All right. That's going to go in the sink. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of spread the blood oranges out. Kind of do them by color initially. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. I want to make it look pretty, and I also want them to cook, of course. Okay, so there we go. Okay, there we go. That'll work. And then I'm going to sprinkle the fennel all about, because remember, these are going to roast first, and then they're going to be in about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to add the pork chops on top. So I do want to leave a little bit down here. So potatoes are going to go in, and this is going to come in. And you know, I'm thinking I may Actually, no, I'll leave these out. I'm just going to put the bulb in, and we'll be happy with that. So I'll bring you back as soon as the potatoes are ready to go in here as well. Now I'm thinking that you really don't have to do pork. Now, you know, I'm looking at these vegetables and you really look how pretty they are, nice and bright. And I'm thinking, and they smell wonderful. I really wish you could smell this. I was thinking that we could hold off on the olives. But you know, the olives are going to be what adds that bit of salt. So I'm going to wait until the potatoes come out, and I may actually go ahead and put the olives in. Or I may wait and put the olives in when I put the pork chops in, because the pork chops won't take but about 10 minutes on each side to be done. Now raise your hand if you're new to fennel. Now fennel tastes like licorice, and sometimes they call it anise. And the good thing about fennel is that it's very versatile. You can use it in salads. It tastes very good. You can use it in slaws if you like that licorice flavor. You can use it with chicken, and let me tell you, it's even good with seafood. So it is a very versatile vegetable. It's great with steak or beef. So you have a variety of things that fennel can be used for. So keep that in mind. So should you decide that you don't want to necessarily do it with pork, but know that if you have a nice roast, you can add fennel. If you have a chicken that you want to roast, you can add fennel. It's just a matter of whether or not you like the flavor. Now, think celery. Anywhere that you use celery, you can use fennel. How about that? Now, I think those potatoes are ready. Let's get them. All right, now I have poured the water off of the potatoes, and they're sitting right here. Let me see if I can get you at a better angle so you can see exactly what we're doing. There you go. All right, so we've got our potatoes. I'm going to add them in. Let me get I take these because they're a little fragile because they've been cooking. So remember, they're going to be hot. I'm going to add those in. The thinner ones are a little farther along than some of the others, but these are just russet potatoes that I'm adding in. I had considered mashed potatoes, but let's do something a little different with it. So I'm going to just take the fennel and kind of let it lay on top of the potatoes so that they'll all have good flavor. And I'm going to use my fingers and kind of mess with it a little bit, get them placed where I want them. And I want that fennel to be on top of the potatoes, because as they cook, I want some of those fennel juices to run onto our potatoes. And I want some of the orange juice, the blood orange flavor, to be on there as well. So I'm going to let them get happy in the oven. I'm going to give them a little stir like I did over on this side, and then after about 10 minutes I'm going to lay the pork chops in right on top, and we're going to broil the pork chops. All right, the oven is set on 425, 10 minutes. All right, I've had a chance to toss the vegetables, and I'm going to add in our pork chops. Now, I'm going to do this very carefully. I'll try to do it one by one, and then I'll adjust from there. Try to do this without having to touch them, and we'll see how that goes. We'll get a fork. But I want each one to have its own little spot. Okay. 2. Might as well just use the fork. That's 3. And number 4. So there we go. Everybody's in the pool. Now, I'm telling you, the kitchen smells wonderful. Now, what I thought, you know, where I was going to add those onions at the end, I'm going to put them in and I'm going to put them around so that salty flavor will get in. And I'm going to add in just a couple of tablespoons of vinegar. And if you have a champagne vinegar, you can certainly do that. I did not. It wasn't a part of my stay-at-home regimen, so I don't have that. So I'm just going to add that in, kind of sprinkle it a little bit. This is going to go into the oven now until the pork chops are ready. So everything's ready. I'm leaving it uncovered for at least 10 minutes. Then I'm going to take them out and I'm going to put them back in another 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes in. Now remember, this time we're going to actually broil them. So I'm going to put them up at the top. I'm going to turn on the broiler and cook. And how many of you are really struggling with trying to come up with meals that are different? Oh my goodness. You know, we have our tried and true menus, but you know, after a while, then it's like, okay, I need something new, because everybody's going, oh, is that what you're going to fix? Oh, is that all you've got? You know, those kind of things. And that is so disheartening for you because you've taken the time to prepare it. So I have been doing a little research and researching, trying to find new things to prepare. So that's kind of where I went tonight, with something new, something different. And I hope you'll try it too. If you have any ideas of some things that might be new, some flavors that might be new and fresh, then certainly let me know. Now, you know what? We're going to bring the pan out. I'm going to let you take a look at it. I'm going to flip those pork chops over, and then we're going to put them back in. Okay? All right. Well, here they are. And you can just smell the cinnamon, just smell those flavors. So I'm going to get a fork, and we are going to flip these pork chops over and let them get brown on the other side. So let me turn this one back around the way it was. They're not quite ready yet. As you can see, they still need to cook. We want our pork chops juicy, but we do not want them raw. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of lay a blood orange on top. Let's take advantage of those since we got them. Put them right up there. Let them be very visible and let them add their juices to our pork. Got that. We've got fennel. We've got our olives. We've got all kinds of things that are going on in this pan. So I am just getting things where they need to go. And I'm going to put it right back in the oven. This is going to be so good. I can't wait. Can't wait. All right, let's get it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. Well, guys, remember the green bean salad that we made a couple of days ago, and it's been in the refrigerator. So it's nice and cold, and I am going to have green bean salad as our accompaniment tonight. So I'm putting some in these bowls. Like I told you, my family loves it. There's one. Isn't that pretty? It's so colorful. And two. All right, so I'm going to put this right back. It's going right back in the refrigerator. And you know what? We've got about 1 minute and 24 seconds before we take our dish out of the oven. So let's get ready. Something. I think it's ready. Turn it off. Sounds like things are getting toasty in here. Oh yeah. All right. We have our oranges, our vegetables, everything's in there. Woo. Looks good, looks good. Let me call in the fella. Okay, let's get ready to serve it up. I'll use my towel. Right here underneath. There's our chop. There's another. Got potatoes and fennel. And all those on the side. Got our olives. All kinds of things to go on there. Oh my goodness. It's just so good. I don't know which direction to go. I'm going to take this one. Those blood oranges, because they have a little bit of sugar taste to them, they got just a little toasty. That's okay. So we have our fennel, our potatoes. Everything is right there. Oh man, smells so good. All right. Woo. Now, have our little salads to the side. I hope you have had a wonderful time in the kitchen, and I hope that you will continue to be a part of the Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme family. I have certainly enjoyed your presence.